Hey, it's Dee. Thanks for joining me. I'm so happy you're here. Settle into my virtual hair chair and let's get into it. This is Deep Cuts. So here I go again. This is episode 2 of season 1. Today's title of the episode is called Love is Love is Love. Starting out with the daily deets, I was in the Pride Parade this weekend, yesterday, Sunday. Today's Monday, and I was hoping to release this earlier today, but it looks like it's probably going to come out tomorrow, which would be Tuesday. So bear with me. I'm a baby podcaster. It was great. I was invited to walk in the Pride Parade with Thresholds, which is an organization that works with people with addiction and various other things. And one of my friends works there, and her mom works there as well. And so I was able to walk with them in the parade, and it was amazing and so much fun. And um, I have been bringing my girls to the parade since they were little, and I've walked in it before, and I go to it almost every year. Um, I walked in it before with a hair salon. And I mean, it's actually really fun to do either one. Walking in the parade is fun because you get to be a part of it and you get to celebrate with everyone and you get to see all of the faces of all the people that have come to celebrate and join in on the celebration. Um, And a lot of them aren't welcome in their neighborhoods where they live. Some of them not even in their own homes just because of who they are, who they love, what they believe in. And it's sad because it really has nothing to do with how they treat people. In fact, they're the ones that get treated like crap. So, I mean, really, the ones who are doing the crap treating, you are the ones that suck. So, hate to break it to you, but you should love your kids, no matter. Even the furry ones that are always up to no good, and you can see this in real time. I'm recording at night, so I should probably record when he's sleeping. But he's out and about, and he's wild. He's wild right now. Well, it is a full moon, so that could explain the behavior. However, his always pretty much wild. And yeah, so anyway, Pride Parade. So I tried to take the bus there and I was waiting for the bus and I used the app and it didn't say anything about the buses not coming, even though there were signs everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I noticed it after a few minutes. I realized I don't think the bus is coming. So I looked at the sign, and of course, we were in between where the buses were not going to be running because of the parade. So I had to walk um kind of far to catch a lift that would take me there because there's like pickup areas when there's events like this. So I was actually at Fullerton and Stockton, which is basically like Fullerton and almost to Lakeshore Drive. And I walked almost all the way to Belmont, which isn't really that far, but I wasn't planning on it. And then I was also going to be walking for like 2 hours in the parades. I don't care. I love walking, but when I ordered the lifter, oh great, my cat's about to pull my curtain down. Super. Well, if he does, he does. So, yeah, so I had to walk to the ride share and anyway, it worked out fine because she had only just gotten there by the time I got there. That's how much traffic there was. So it worked out fine. And I got dropped off and I went to, oh my God. Well, He literally just ripped my curtain down. So now everyone can see me recording. So, hi, everyone. Anyway, I had to go to the bathroom really bad. I had to pee really bad. And I walked to to one of the porta potties, and I just like walked right up to it when the door opened, and everyone was like, "What?" And they looked at me, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you waiting?" And the lady was like, "Yeah, we're all waiting." And there was like this huge line. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I ended up walking the whole parade without having gone to the bathroom. So, but it was okay. I ended up being fine. Okay, so that's the daily deets. I'm done. I'm done with that. Today's song of the episode is Take Me As I Am by Mary J. Blige. And it is from her 2005 album called The Breakthrough. And I love Mary J. Blige. I think she is the queen of, I guess R&B. I just, oh, I just really like her a lot. I think her music is awesome. I could listen to her music all day long, and I often do. And my favorite lyric is, she has no regrets. She accepts the past. All these things they helped to make she. So I definitely resonate with that. I have no regrets. I accept the past, and all those things helped to make me. So the song is great. That is the song of the episode. My other favorite lyric is, Take me as I am, or have nothing at all. Don't you know I can only be me? I can only be me. I love those lyrics. They resonate with me in a lot of ways because, I have in the past had some regrets and didn't always accept my past. So I feel like, even though I thought I did, I feel like, the older we get, the more we're just going to keep having more experiences and learning from the ones that aren't the best, and learning from the ones that are the best. I'm going to add a bonus song. I did that with last week's episode. I just added it to the playlist, but I didn't mention it on the episode. And the song that I added is called Trying Times. And that is from the most current James Blake album, 2026. And the album is called Trying Times. And the song is also called Trying Times. And so today's song of the episode, again, is Take Me As I Am by Mary J. Blige. And the bonus song is a song by Mary J. Blige featuring Anderson Paak, who I also really love. And the song is called Here With Me. And the album is the 2022 Mary J. Blige album, Good Morning Gorgeous, which is an awesome album. Strongly recommend. Every song is great. She does a lot of collaborations on that album with a lot of other great artists. And this song in particular, Here With Me, is a collab with Anderson, and I love him. I love James Blake. I love Mary J. Blige. I love music. So, welcome to Deep Cuts. The story behind the chair I briefly touched on in the last episode. I mentioned how I had seen a client that hadn't been in over a year. She had a baby. When I reached out to her after her appointment, she told me that I was positively glowing. And I think I mentioned that I thought that was really cool because, normally in the past I might be glowing because, I was dating someone or feeling like in love or, maybe, was going somewhere or doing something really cool or I don't know. I think mostly it was about love. So, yeah, back to love. I've always been a real dreamer. I've always been a real, like, I fall hard. And so the story from Behind the Chair, I wanted to touch on that because I thought that was really cool. And she's such a lovely client. And she went through something during her pregnancy and that I also went through with both of my pregnancies. And it's something called hyperemesis. And there's an abbreviation now, they call it HG, because I think it's like hyperemesis gravidarium or something like that. But it's basically just like extreme nausea. It was crazy that she had gone through that, because I really haven't met anyone else that's gone through that, even though it seems like it's pretty common, or it would be common. So, yeah, I had to have IVs with both of my girls for IV fluids. And, yeah, I lost like 21 pounds with when I was pregnant with Hannah, and then with Grace, when I was pregnant with her, Hannah was 18 months old, and it was really tough. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So the story from behind my mind that I was going to share in the last episode, I was going to share how I went to Paris, and I wanted to share that on last week's episode, but I did a pretty lengthy introduction to myself. So I didn't get to tell the story, but I still want to tell it, and I wanted to tell it somewhat close to that episode. So I'm doing it right next to it. And also because the person that I will reference in this story is someone that I dated, and they introduced me to James Blake, and we actually saw him in concert together once. And he also introduced me to Anderson Paak, who I also really love, and we saw him in concert twice together. That was really one of the things that I liked about dating him, is we did a lot of like fun things together, mostly like live concerts and shows and festivals, like music festivals and stuff. So, and we had a lot of laughs, and I love to laugh. So if you can make me laugh, I mean, we're in. Like, I love to laugh. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty deep, obviously. I'm a very like, I have a lot of emotional depth and a lot of spiritual interests and things like that. And so I feel like there is what seems like a serious side to me. And I wouldn't say it's serious as much as it is maybe devoted, or um, I don't know. But I'm not very serious. I'm actually very silly, and I make fun of myself a lot. So, um, but anyway, I dated this guy, and we met in the fall of 2017, I think. I'm pretty sure. And we met on a dating app. And we talked for a while before we met. And we actually had such awesome conversations. I couldn't wait to meet him. I mean, like, I felt like it didn't even matter if he didn't really look that much like what his pictures suggested he looked like. And he did. He did look like his pictures. However, he didn't in some ways. But anyway, he did. He did. He did. Um, I mean, who doesn't use their best pictures? So that's fine. But anyway, we met in person, and he was really clever, and I loved like the things that he would say in our conversations. And I also, he was really interested in music, and was, you know, had a lot of similar tastes in music as I do, but even like introduced me to a lot of music. So I really did appreciate that, because a lot of people that I've dated or that I know, either they're not really into music as much as I am, or they're really just kind of like listen to mainstream stuff. And like, that's fine. Like, but it was really cool to date someone that I could learn some stuff from. And also, although every time I shared anything with him, like about music, but even really about anything, he had a way of like always making me feel kind of like I wasn't good enough. It's hard to explain, but, and of course, I noticed it in the moments, but I didn't care, I guess, enough. I think I was really excited to finally meet someone that I felt like I could potentially move forward with in other ways. And like, I kind of felt like maybe that would just sort of like, you know, I don't know. Anyway, we were dating and it was funny because, I lived in Evanston at the time and he lived in the South Loop and he didn't have a car, but I did. So I drove back and forth, but I only really saw him on the weekends. And that actually worked well for me because I did have the girls and they were still at home and I never introduced anyone to my kids except for actually one person. And that was one of the last people that I dated. Actually, the last person that I dated, and that was a while ago. I'm embarrassed to admit. No, I'm not embarrassed. It's by choice, so I'm not embarrassed. And that was in 2020. But anyway, um, it was fine with me because I had a business, actually just opened my business or was just about to open my business and had my girls and I was pretty busy. So it was just nice to have like a fun sort of getaway on the weekends. And I would go and generally spend the night on a Saturday night. And then, we'd wake up and spend the day together on Sunday. But he did this thing that like we would wake up in the morning and then like he would just disappear. And eventually he would say like, well, I'm going to meditate. And so he would leave and he would leave me in the bed at like, I don't know, like 7 in the morning. And he would go downstairs to meditate and then come back up like not in like a reasonable amount of time. Like I'm talking like 2, 3 hours. And, then he would kind of just like we would pretty much be in his world. Like, we'd watch something on television or we'd go for a walk but it was really like, I don't know, it's in a way like looking back, I didn't love that and like it makes me sad looking back. It didn't really make me sad then. I didn't like it, but it makes me sad now looking back, thinking, like because what I really wanted was someone to wake up with me and want to snuggle and want to spend the day with me, and potentially want to meet my kids and move forward and like, have a life together. And I think, I thought that could potentially happen with him. And so I was allowing it to go very slowly. I was really allowing us to have like so much space, and I gave him so much space. And I think it was too much space. Um, but, and I was actually called out by, clients that I was close with and friends that I was close with at the time that they thought that was odd. And, looking back, they weren't wrong. It didn't bother me that much because frankly, I didn't really care if he met my friends. Um, I think, I'm fine with things moving slow if I feel like they're going in the right direction. Looking back, I mean, there were so many red flags, but um, that's just a couple of them. But like there were so many. Very non-committal, like very non-committal, like couldn't even like I have to meet him places and yeah, it was just a very like his environment was very controlled and I was like an experiment that had to be controlled within that environment. So, but anyway, what happened was, a lot of that, and you figure we started dating in the fall. So, 8, 10 weeks, weekends basically. And I really kind of felt like I was falling in love with him. I mean, looking back now, I did actually speak with him not too long ago on the phone, and I thought maybe we could be friends, but after I talked to him, I was just honestly, I was so turned off by just I don't know, I think it was just like everything was the same and I just wasn't. And so none of that was attractive to me anymore, not even in a friendship way, if that makes sense. I mean, I certainly wish him well, and I'm sure we would have fun if we hung out, but like I have no interest in like chatting on the phone with him or you know, any type of connection outside of, hey, I'm in the city, like, do you want to grab lunch? That's probably where it's going to stay. So anyway, while we were dating, I generally take trips for my birthday. And I always wanted to go to Paris my whole life. And I really always wanted to go in love. I thought it would be so cool to be in Paris and holding someone's hand and being in love and just like experiencing that together and just the city of love. Um, and I have my Venus is in Pisces. So I am like the dreamiest of all the dreamers in every way, especially in relationships. I mean, in the past, I would meet someone and, like, in my dreams, I'm like, I'm already in the future. Like, we are married and have children, but also at the same time not. So, um, I'm sure there's some other placements in my chart that we could chat about that would make sense for that. But anyway, the Venus in Pisces is gives me a very dreamy and la 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 in relationships. But it also makes me a giver in relationships. And I mean, I do. I would really love to, fall in love with someone and just grow old with them. I mean, my God, I'm growing old anyway. It would be really cool to grow old with someone. Okay, I bought tickets to Paris for the two of us. And I didn't tell him. I was going to surprise him. And my birthday's in February. It's on February 1st. And so I thought, I bought them in like November. But by the way, they were super cheap. They were like $350 round trip. And so in my head, I was like, well, you know what? If he doesn't come with me, it's fine. Like I don't care. If we're broken up and he doesn't come with, that's okay. Like I'll eat the 350, but if we're still together and in love, it's going to be the best idea ever. So I bought the tickets in November. December came, and that's when his birthday is. And he mentioned that he was considering buying tickets to a Bulls game and would I want to go? And I said, yeah, of course. I actually bought some tickets as well. And he was like, oh, you did? For what? And I said, for Paris, for us in February for my birthday. We're going to go for 10 days. I have the Airbnb already booked. I have the flights booked, and it's all on me. I mean, obviously, when we get there, you're more than welcome to purchase dinners and things like that. But I mean, like, I'm so excited. And he was just kind of like not excited. And he was like, I don't know if I can get that time off. And I'm like, you work for yourself. And let me explain to you, this is a person who owned his own business with his brother and his dad. And he worked from his couch. I didn't expect him to take all of that time off, but I figured he could work from abroad. I've seen him work, so it's definitely something he could do. Um, so there was that. And then the big clincher was that the Kansas City Chiefs, who weren't even good yet, they had just started getting good and didn't go to the Super Bowl that year, but could potentially go. And that is why he didn't want to come to Paris with me. Now, looking back, those are probably excuses for the bigger reason, which was the non-committal reason. So, yeah, I kind of didn't talk about it again and sort of just hoped that he would eventually just, in the next couple of months change his mind, and he didn't. And I went to Paris by myself while we were still dating. So take that one in. I will give you a minute because it's fucked up. But what isn't fucked up is that I went and I enjoyed myself and I fell in love with myself. And instead of going to Paris in love, the second best thing was to go brokenhearted and to fall in love with myself. And I'd like to say all over again, but I think it might have been for the first time. And and maybe not quite the first time, but the first time in a very special way. And, when I was there, I did all the things I wanted to do. I saw all the things I wanted to see, all of my favorite movies that I love that are in Paris, Amelie. I actually stayed in an Airbnb near where the market was, the fruit market that she went to. And so I stayed in Montmartre, and that's where where she stayed in the movie, and a lot of the movie was filmed, and it was so much fun. And I went to the cafe that she worked at in the movie, and they have a little homage to her and like a little display case. I'll post those pictures. I'm actually going to make a note of that now. I'm going to post all my Paris pictures actually because they're so cool. And then I went to where Midnight in Paris was filmed, where he sat on the steps and waited for the Peugeot to pull up and pick him up and take him back in time. And so I went there and I sat on the steps and I waited for a Peugeot to come and take me back in time. Alas, it did not happen. However, I did take a picture of a car pulling up and pretended I went back in time. But I wandered the streets of Paris alone, and I saw Notre Dame a year before it caught on fire. I went to the museums. I went to the Dali Museum in Montmartre. I went to Musée d'Orsay. I went outside of the Louvre. I didn't go in, but there was a big protest happening at the time, so it was really cool even just to be outside. I think they had like yellow vests on. I love to be somewhere seeing people standing up for what they believe in. A country where you're allowed to do that is really lovely. So went to the Eiffel Tower, obviously. I just wandered and I walked a lot. But this is a funny little story. I was to get a cupcake and we could FaceTime and he would have a cupcake and we could celebrate my birthday that way. Well, I was already planning on getting a cupcake at a bakery when I got there because I landed on my birthday at like noon. And so I got my cupcake and I went to the top of, I climbed, I think it's like 300 and something stairs. It was like insane. The top of, it's in Montmartre. I'm blanking on the name. I have a picture and I have a picture of the cupcake. And so I FaceTimed him, and guess who forgot to get a cupcake? So yeah, we're going to just leave him and that right there because that's about where they stay. Because after that, I went to the Airbnb, and instead of napping, I decided that I would stay awake and treat myself to the Moulin Rouge because I was staying really close. And so I was unable to get the early show. It was sold out. So I had to wait for the 11 p.m. show. Now remember, I landed at noon and I took like an overnight flight. So I was exhausted, but I needed to do this for myself because Moulin Rouge is one of my favorite musicals and one of my favorite movies. And so I had to not only see it from the outside, but I had to go in and experience it for myself from the inside and see the show. And so I went, and because I was by myself, I was seated last. They seated all the groups first, and then probably groups of 4, and then down, couples. And then they took the people that were by themselves and sort of filtered them in open spots. So I feel like that was really lucky because I got to sit with a table of people that I didn't know. I mean, they were speaking French, so I understood very little what they said from when I was in high school. And so I was really close to the stage, and it was amazing. It was such a cool performance in every way. I mean, it was so much more than I expected. Like, I expected it to be dancing girls and, like Vegas style costumes and just, lots of dancing, but there was underwater acts. There was animals. It was so much cool. There was roller skaters. There were so many cool things. So it was such a cool experience. Of course, I couldn't do any filming or anything like that, but I did get a program. I want to say, and I think it was like La Ferry. So the fairy, of course, how perfect for me. I mean, I'm just like the fairy queen. My arm is covered in fairies. You can't see, but I'll show them to you someday. But yeah, so I got a small bottle of champagne with my ticket, and I don't drink. At the time, I drank a little, but not very much. And so I decided, I would drink this mini bottle of champagne because it was my birthday. And at the end of the show, like I stood up and I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So I'm drunk and I'm in a foreign country. I don't know where I am. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I walked outside, and if you've ever been there, it's kind of in like the X-rated district. It's, all the girls and the dance places and, the strip bars and the sex shops and all of I mean, this is a cool part of town, but, it's late. And so everyone's out, and I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm safe or not, but I'm drunk and I'm not even sure how to get back to my Airbnb. Um, well, when I walked outside, right across the street, there was the words discotheque. And I saw flashing lights and I heard music, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go dance this buzz off. So I went downstairs into the discotheque and I danced my heart out. I actually think I have a video of me on the dance floor. I'll have to look. Um, but I had so much fun dancing. And of course, there was no one in there when I first got there, but then people started filtering in and ended up making out with this guy on the dance floor. And it felt really good to do that because I was dating so and so, and he was a jerk and didn't come with me to Paris. So he does not know this. And if he listens to this story, I'm sorry if you're mad about the way that I spoke about you, but I'm pretty sure you know it's all true. And sorry about kissing someone on the dance floor, but I'm pretty sure you didn't deserve me. And I was breaking up with you when I got home anyway. So, yeah, so it was really cool though. Turns out I thought, oh, cool, I'm kissing a Parisian. Turns out he was not from Paris. He was not French. He was Ethiopian. So, but hey, I made out with an Ethiopian. So that was really cool. And we danced. He offered to walk me home, but I declined. I had sobered up. I did not drink anymore when I was in the discotheque. I wanted to be smarter, because I definitely wasn't smart to begin with. But I made my way back to my Airbnb, and the only way that I found it was I saw some graffiti on the wall that I recognized. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say I got lucky. I mean, I got lucky on the dance floor, and I got lucky getting home. So, oh my God, that Airbnb was insane. The stairs, I didn't know how to turn the lights on until like the day I was leaving. I didn't realize you could like hit it and then they would stay on until you got up there, and then they would turn off. I couldn't figure out how to turn them on. And so I was climbing this thing in the dark, pitch black, and it was a spiral staircase. So it was pretty, and I was like all the way on the top, but I felt safe. Like once I was in there, I was like, there's like nobody in here but me and whoever else lives on like each little landing of the spiral staircase. So yeah, so that was my Paris trip. I did a lot of really cool things on that trip. I rode a boat on the Seine. I just wandered around. I went to the um the bookstore from Midnight in Paris, the Shakespeare bookstore. I am blinking. It's late, so I think y'all know what I'm talking about, but I'll be able to find, I have a bookmark that I got from there, and I can take a picture of that as well. And I probably took a picture of the store, I think, when I was in front, the bookstore. I couldn't go in because they were having like an author was there. It's like a book signing and a book reading. I mean, I could have gone in, but I didn't know who it was. And I actually just picked up a book that was outside on one of the tables that they had. They were doing like a little outside sale. And I was super excited because it's a Midsummer's Night's Dream and it's one of my favorites. And I got this cute little copy. So I'll take a picture of that. Probably have that in my photos. I take a lot of pictures. I take pictures all the time. I know I probably annoy the shit out of everyone that I'm with when I'm stopping to take pictures, but they're more than welcome to keep walking and I'll catch up because, to be honest, all the pictures that I take, I'm really happy that I stopped and took them. So it's just something I enjoy. And I really like looking back at the pictures that I take. I wanted to share also that when I was dating that guy, all the shows that we went and saw James Blake at the Riv. And that's actually like a really good example of how he was. So I was meeting him at the Riv and I was actually in my car at the stoplight on Broadway and Lawrence. And the Green Mill would be to my right because I was heading south on Broadway. It was just at the Lawrence light. And the Riv is just past the Lawrence light. And he was crossing the crosswalk in front of my car. And I beeped. And I was like, get in my car. And instead of jumping in my car like anybody else that I know or everybody else that I know, he was like, no, I'm going to go get in line. You can meet me in line. So like I literally had to go park my car. I don't know if you understand Chicago, but like you don't just go park your car, jump out and you're in line. Like it was a while. And so he was already inside. Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure he shushed me a couple times during the concert. And to be fair, I didn't know James Blake that well. And if I was with someone and at a concert seeing James Blake and they were talking, I probably shushed them. But to be fair, again, I was just at a James Blake concert with my daughter and I was talking during that and she was shushing me. So maybe I'm the talker. And I don't really care. It's a concert. You're supposed to talk and have fun. I don't think she was shushing me because he was playing, though, like so and so was. I think she was shushing me because I was being loud, but that's not unusual. But we also went to see Anderson Paak twice, and we saw him once at Northerly Island, which was a great concert, and he always comes out and dances in the audience, and he did that. And then we went to see him at Vans Off the Wall, which is like a really small venue. It's like where I think it might be like the Vans storage facility, but there's like a ramp in there for skateboarders and he performed there and we went there. And that's another example. I got there before him and I was in line waiting and waiting and waiting. And I kept texting him, are you coming? And he just like kept, yeah, I'm coming. And, I was almost to the door when he showed up. And like looking back, I'm sure he didn't want to wait in line. He probably pushed that off just because I could wait in the line instead. And I'm making that up in my head, but I mean, does it really seem that far off? But that concert was amazing. Like we were so close. So he came out and danced into the audience and I was like touching the railing where he danced by. So I'm gonna have to post pics of that video because it was so cool. Oh my God, Anderson Paak is so much fun to see in concert. I've seen him a few times since then as well by myself without so-and-so. And I actually saw him last fall with my daughter at, where did we see him? I think it was the Vic. It was really good. Or was it the Riv? Might have been the Riv. I can't remember. But what he did is he played this album that he just released this year where he's just singing on it. So he's normally a drummer and he plays the drums and sings, but on this album he just sings. So he wasn't playing the drums at all. He just was performing. So that was it was a very different show than what I'm used to, but I enjoyed it. So moving into the cosmic shift, we are in a full moon tonight. So when you listen to this, it's going to be the next day after the full moon, but that's okay. Because you can still reap all of the benefits of the full moon, because it's really powerful, even just like the day before and the day after, and even just like the day before. So it's a full moon, it's a strawberry moon,